Authorities in PNG and Australia crack down on illicit drugs. Drivers warned of alcohol-related highway incidents. And classes remain suspended at Fudal University.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and welcome to another working week. The Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary has called on the government to draft new legislation to deal with the increase in illicit drugs. Acting Deputy Police Commissioner Rafael Huafolo says current legislation is inadequate to deal with new illicit drugs entering PNG. An awareness program on amphetamine-type stimulants is currently being conducted by the RPNGC, AFP and Australian Aid.
Amphetamine-type stimulants such as methamphetamine are the second most used illicit drug in the world following cannabis. While its use in PNG may not be common, there are strong grounds to suggest tough legislation to counter this growing threat. Acting Deputy Police Commissioner Rafael Huafolo predicts this could become problematic for PNG given its poor technological capabilities to detect these illicit drugs. With help from the Australian Federal Police and Australian Aid, RPNGC is informing communities on the harmful effects of ATS. Key government agencies are also being trained to detect, deter and disrupt ATS activities in PNG. The global trend is alarming. In 2014, the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime reported an estimated 13.9 million to 54.8 million users worldwide. Much of the amphetamine-type stimulant activities are run by organized crime groups. PNG is prone to this and can become a transit point for organized crime groups to ply their trade. Acting Deputy Police Commissioner Rafael Huafolo admitted current loopholes to respond to this, but called for a more coordinated efforts from all stakeholders. The awareness program will be carried out in other centers such as Lae, Madang and Kokopo. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
The Hiritano Highway in the Central Province has its own history of road and vehicle accidents that have claimed many lives. While some of these accidents are alcohol-related, police continue to warn drivers that they must be road safety-wise.
Traveling the Hiritano Highway at night can be dangerous. The highway has many long and straight roads that can make drivers fall asleep. But what makes it more dangerous is when drivers drive under the influence of alcohol. On Friday, EMTV traveled with a team of officers from the Organized Crimes Unit in Port Moresby along the highway. We came across a PMV traveling to Port Moresby from Gulf Province. Passengers on the PMV were screaming for assistance from the police because their driver was drinking and driving. When the police stopped the PMV, it turned into a quarrel between passengers and the PMV crew. The police officers managed to control the situation and ordered for someone sober to drive.
Road safety very important. Na kan incident that come up now because of Spackman. Only Carlo night without care attention.
In Port Moresby, there have been a number of road accidents that ended up in death or serious injuries. The Pore Highway is one freeway in the city that claimed many lives in the past 10 years.
All driver on highway life blow driver is very important. Na almost no one drink around. Drink beer na karam of passenger.
While police cannot control the number of road accidents happening in the country, they can only warn drivers to drive responsibly. Stanley Ovett Jr., National EMTV News.
A road that ensures access to service delivery is what the people of Menari in the Kairukuhiri electorate of Central Province desperately need. Menari, with a population of just over 1,000, is extremely remote within the Koyari LLG. It is nestled in the Blue Mountains that govern the historical Kokoda track. Despite having an airstrip, service delivery via air transport is uncommon and, if used, very expensive. Isolated with no road and insufficient service delivery, Menari's hardships are made even worse by the impact of the current extreme dry weather conditions. It takes about 20 minutes on a chartered plane to get to Menari village from Port Moresby. It has a population of just over 1,000 people. Menari is part of the mountainous and remote Koyari LLG that includes Kagi, Naduri, Efogi, Kavovo and Envilogo. The majestic views from Menari captivate you from the get-go, but when you learn of the harsh realities of this village, the resilience of the Menari people will captivate you even more. Alex Wageri is the head teacher at Menari Adventist Primary School. He's been teaching for about 30 years. Wageri takes an incredible 2-day walk to Port Moresby just to deliver the school's report to the education department. His passion is undeniable. He's been walking for almost 2 decades.
The challenges I face here is that for me to go into Port Moresby to deliver monthly reports and other requirements to meet education criteria, I have to take a walk. And it takes me 2 days to walk. I come back another 2 days, it's almost a week.
Wageri and his band of 5 teachers share the role of teaching elementary to grade 8 students.
We have multiple grade, one teacher taking 2 grades. So grade 7 and 6 is taken by one, a lady teacher. Grade 4 and 5 is taken by another male teacher. And I'm taking grade 3 because I've got other responsibilities on administration. So that shares the bedding.
There is no phone coverage in Menari, which makes mobile phones irrelevant. Kokoda Track rangers with the Kokoda Track Authority provide the only reliable source of communication through 2-way radios. Kairukuhiri MP Peter Isoaimo says there are conflicting views about the prospect of a road, with critics saying it would affect the income that villagers make from the Kokoda Track.
At the moment, we have an issue here. The villages from up Fogi and Kokoda, Kokoda, Naduri and Kagi, from my visits there, do not want the road pushed up here, but they rather request for a light aircraft to be purchased for transportation issues, and that is in the plan. It's been approved through my formerly JDP and now DDA.
Menari has also been affected by current dry weather conditions. Their water supply system comes from a river catchment nearby, but lately water has not been running as indicated by their health clinic.
A problem inside the clinic too. So we need him water system, we need him clean water running into the clinic and by alright, because drought is affecting me now because water level drop and clinic no at water now. So there's no water in the clinic now. Right now, we no at water inside the clinic.
Food gardens and their harvest are either very low or damaged, effects that are synonymous with other impacted areas in Papua New Guinea.
I mean, grow one black corn or one pumpkin or one planting the garden and grow and stop.
Mr. Isoaimo says an assessment has been made. Isolated with no road, affected by extreme dry weather conditions with rations already declining, Wageri predicts the worst.
Possible within 1 month or 2 months. On reports I've been receiving from individuals, some of them are having 1 meal a day. That will affect them, and if things continue that way, maybe they will miss out a day's food and maybe a meal in 2 days. That is affecting them at the moment.
The perseverance of Alex Wageri shows the resilience of his community despite their hardships. The smiles from Menari reinforce that resilience. He continues to work and walk a 32-kilometre trek over 2 days to reach Port Moresby to deliver his school's reports. With damaged food gardens, water running low, and no road to ensure basic service delivery, the resilience of the Menari people will truly be tested as the dry spell continues. Well, 2 staff houses and a double classroom were opened in Manari. The staff houses and classroom is a partnership between the Karukuhiri District Administration and the Australian Government through the Kokoda Initiative. Manari Adventist Primary School, including its elementary, has 109 students. The school now has a double classroom to better accommodate its students. Staff housing for the school and the Manari Clinic were opened as well. Christine Seiko, who is the education coordinator of the Kokoda Initiative, says due to Manari's remoteness, resources had to be airlifted for each project.
So the program, for each house, approximately 68,000 kina per house, and then we had all the logistics on top of that, which totaled to over 200,000 kina, which included 6 toilets for the school and also the 2 toilets at the health facility.
Ms. Seiko added the main reason for the staff housing was to retain the school and clinic workers.
Because of the issue with retention, that's where KI comes in and tries to support and provide that service to the teachers, but also the health worker as well.
Both the staff houses and classroom were built by Manari locals. Representative from the Australian High Commission, Fuchsia Hepworth, says it's an achievement that belongs to the Manari people.
To the people of Manari Village, I would like to congratulate you for using your own initiative to develop the new double classroom. This is a fantastic achievement and a wonderful legacy for the future.
Karukuhiri MP Peter Isoaimo, who officiated at the launch, said it was a mammoth task delivering services to an electorate that has over 120,000 people scattered over a vast region of mountains.
Riga only has 45,000 people. Abau has 56,000 people. Koilala only has 38,000 people with the same load of 10 million funding annually. So you will find as your leader, it's a very mammoth task, for me to be able to service our electorate.
The double classroom will accommodate an increasing number of students in Manari, and the staff housing will assist in retaining workers. 6 toilets and 2 water tanks were also constructed to provide access to hygiene and safe water to over 1,000 people in the region. Fuel customers here in Port Moresby may be without petrol for an extended period, with fuel supplier Puma Energy today announcing the downscaling of activities at its Napa Napa facility. In a statement released this afternoon, the company said it was now moving towards care and maintain for its refining units by introducing cost-saving measures. These measures include placing 50 staff on home leave, as well as a reduced truck loading service at Napa Napa for an indefinite period. This downsizing is on the back of the suspension in refinery operations in April over the customs and licensing regime for their refinery. Puma Energy says today's measures have been designed to ensure their ability to service the needs of customers remains unaffected, with the Napa Napa terminals kept in operation for the purpose of import of refined products. However, the refinery will continue to supply all of its customers with a full service at the Marine Wharf and with appropriate alternate arrangements made to ensure continuous truck supply capability. No funds yet to conduct the Ijivitari by-election. Also, students continue boycotting classes at Fudal University, and the government's response to landowners in Hela. We'll bring you those stories when we come back. Stay with us. Good to have you back with National EMTV News. The late release of the requested 4.2 million kina from the Treasury Department may force the Electoral Commission to cancel the by-election for the Ijivitari Open electorate. Electoral Commissioner Sir Andrew Trawen says if no money is released from Treasury by close of business tomorrow, the by-elections will be jeopardized. Sir Andrew says the Ijivitari Open is a court-ordered by-election and should be conducted immediately. Returning officers were already appointed and PNG EC is set to issue the writs this Thursday. Well, classes remain suspended at the University of Natural Resources and Environment following a student boycott over an increase in tuition fees. Today, the student body protested and forced the closure of all admin operations and demanded the university's bursa to be removed. The acting Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Samson Laup, meanwhile released a statement last Friday and deemed the boycott as illegal.
At 10 a.m. this morning, more than 1,000 students gathered and staged an on-campus peaceful protest march and demanded the removal of George Korowi as the university's bursar. The police were called into the campus to maintain order. The boycott followed on from last week Thursday, after students were told that there was a 60% increase to their tuition fees. It's understood at least 3 letters of inquiry submitted to the bursar by the Student Representative Council concerning the issue were ignored.
And today we march up and they did not want to address us. The acting Vice Chancellor, bursar, they ran away in front of us.
Today, the students protested to the administration block and locked the main door to the bursar's office after it failed to address the students in a forum. On Friday last week, the acting Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Samson Laup, released a statement stating that the boycott is illegal and that students must return to class, and he said there won't be any adjustments made to the academic programs as a result of the boycott. But the students today showed no signs of returning to class. They called on the Office of Higher Education for immediate intervention.
And this situation urgently requires the intervention of the Department of Higher Education. The Minister and the Governing Council must come and intervene in this situation now, or else something different will happen.
It's understood the Minister for Higher Education, Malakai Tabar, is in Goroka to attend to the UOG issue, and he is expected to talk to the UNRE students tomorrow to address their concerns. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
There's been a string of major armed robberies in these past months in the Madang province. This is causing a strain on the Madang police force, especially the detective officers under the Criminal Investigations Division, who are losing sleep and family time to attend to the investigations.
These string of robberies are happening frequently, and while police detectives are investigating, another one happens.
We've experienced some robberies for the past 2 weeks. Most of them that we have discovered are all inside job. Inside job meaning the criminals deal with the people who are dealing with the case, so that it's easier to rob and without detection. So it will take a while for police to, go after the criminals.
We already have a number of robberies that are currently under investigation that my CID officers are working on, with the latest one being the NDB robbery. Okay. We already locked up 3 people in the cells, and my officers are doing the investigation on that. The other robbery is about in relation to the killing and the robbery of the Asian national. It's one of the major robberies that occurs in the right in the heart of Madang town.
Apart from these robberies, there are other criminal cases that are being reported, to which the policemen and women have to attend to, and in the process, they are being outnumbered. There are only 170 police personnel looking out for the total population of more than 500,000 citizens.
We don't have sufficient manpower that you can, maintain a 24-hour shift without, without exhausting your manpower.
To the public, it seems that police are not doing enough, but the realities behind the scenes remain untold. For instance, a police officer works an estimated 15 to 16 hours a day.
But I'd like to appeal to the community to take responsibility, and also the business houses to advise the police here in Madang. If they need police help in terms of providing bank escorts, we can always help them out, so that we reduce the number of robberies that are happening.
Narrowing this down to the criminal investigations detectives, it is sleepless nights, little or no family time, and long working hours.
It is a community concern and also the concern for everyone in Medan that I think police is not doing enough, but we have reasons to say that police we are working, but due to our shortage in manpower, we cannot cover the whole area at the same time.
Rachel Shite, National MTV News, Madang.
Angry relatives of a local Manus lass alleged to have been raped by 3 Australian Wilson security guards employed at the Manus Island Detention Centre confiscated vehicles belonging to Transfield Services this morning, demanding the return of the trio to the country. The group from Naringale village in the Los Negros LLG said 7 weeks have passed since the incident and investigations into the case have not seen progress due to the absence of the suspects. The frustrated relatives stopped and confiscated a Hino truck and a 25-seater bus, demanding answers from authorities. The locals displayed the 2 vehicles in front of their village, brandishing a sign that read, "We want justice to be done." Their actions caught the attention of authorities, who called a meeting this afternoon at the detention centre with frustrated relatives, and the vehicles were returned undamaged. The state has responded to 21 issues raised in several petitions from landowner groups from Hela. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill commended the landowners for showing flexibility in discussions with the government. The Prime Minister says one of the critical issues is the clan vetting, which has been outstanding since the signing of UBSA and LBBSA in 2010.
In a statement, the Prime Minister responded to South Heights PDL7 Landowners Association and Gigira Laitepo Association and Heights Hiwa Block landowners. He said some challenges hindering the state from meeting its obligations under the agreement are divisions amongst landowners, variance in views and legal challenges. The Prime Minister said these factors have directly and indirectly contributed to the state's inability to deliver on its obligation. He pointed out outstanding clan vetting as one critical issue which needed immediate action. Departmental heads of Petroleum and Energy, National Planning and Monitoring, and the Chief Secretary have been directed to work in close consultation with the leaders of the landowner groups from both PDL1 and 7. On the issue of unfair distribution of 19.8 million kina for the Business Development Grant, the state has assured the landowners that this money will be dispersed after resolution is received from the leaders of the 6 blocks. On the issue of the establishment of a new Special Purpose Authority, review of the 2 agreements and details of payment of IDG and BDG, all this will be considered after the completion of the clan vetting process. Construction of the 4-lane highway from Tari to Como has been tendered and the contract will be awarded soon. The Kikori to Kutubu and Ella Road are projects which are considered for funding in the 2016 budget. The Prime Minister said the state, through the National Petroleum Company and the Mineral Resource Development Company, has an obligation under the agreement to raise funds for the acquisition of 4.27% on behalf of the landowners and the provincial government. Michelle Amba, National MTV News.
Meanwhile, former Prime Minister Sir Michael Somare expressed disappointment at the state for not honouring its commitment. In a joint statement, Sir Michael and former chairman of the National Petroleum Company, Karinga Kua, said the rights and entitlements of the Hela people have not been honoured. Their comments come after the landowners of PDL1 and 7 threatened to shut down the gas conditioning plant in Heights due to non-payment of royalties and outstanding state commitments. They said landowners have been marginalised with contempt regardless of an agreement that they have negotiated and signed with the government. The national government is mapping out up to 1.3 billion kina in expenditure cuts to the 2015 national budget as volatile economic conditions and a plunge in crude oil and LNG prices take a toll on projected government's revenue. Treasury Minister Patrick Pruich announced this today before flagging plans to raise up to 2.5 billion kina through a sovereign bond to stabilise the country's economic standing before major resource projects come online.
For several weeks now, there have been calls for focus on the country's revenue collection measures. Last week, Bank of PNG Governor Loy Bakani announced that significant cuts needed to be made. Today, Treasury Minister Patrick Pruitt announced that the national government has earmarked 1.3 billion kina in expenditure that needs to be cut in order to keep our deficit level down. But these cuts will not last for the next 5 years. The Treasury Department's mid-year economic and fiscal outlook forecasted that a weak global economy could further dampen external demand and commodity prices. To stabilize the economy, Mr. Pruitt also announced that plans are currently being drawn up for the raising of up to 2.5 billion kina through a sovereign bond facility. This is to ensure a stable economy to support the coming online of 4 major resource projects that are ready for development. These are the 3rd LNG train of the PNG LNG project, the proposed 2nd LNG project involving Interoil, Total and Oil Search, and the Frida River and Wafi Golpu Copper Gold projects. A sovereign bond is usually issued by a national government. PNG has never issued one before. What it is a straightforward instrument to raise public debt and receives favorable treatment in the market because it has the backing of the government. EMTV understands that the Bank of PNG has already had consultations on the matter since the funds would need to be raised this year for the budget. Neville Choi, National EMTV News.
And now we take a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3565 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was trading at $0.3490 $0.4855 Australian dollars, €0.3079 euro, and 41.94 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee and cocoa, including copper, all closed the day higher. Palm oil and crude oil closed higher as well, while copper closed the day lower. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 11 points higher, the ASX closed at 32 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 30 points higher as well. Among more stories coming up after this break, a major housing project gets underway and the MSG trade meeting in Nadi, Fiji. Stay with us. Thanks for your company and welcome back to the news. The public-private partnership Gabutu Palace project is one step closer to construction with the signing of the transfer contract on Saturday. The transfer contract will pave the way for the development contracts. The housing project is valued at 800 million kina, funded by the Korean Palace Construction Company.
Will not affect the settlers who are currently living in the area because their welfare is important. This was the message from Executive Chairman of National Housing Estate, Kevin Ahumpum. He also assured that the 10 massive 15-story buildings will meet sanitary standards.
We are ready and we have talked to our partners to relocate these people into the land that we have organized. And that is ongoing. We also will give them some assistance to move, taking into consideration their welfare. So it's not only on Gabutu, but also on other places that we intend to demolish and redevelop.
The Korean ambassador to Papua New Guinea, Kim Seong-chun, said he was happy with the major investment the Korean-owned company is investing into Papua New Guinea. The Korean New Guinea Housing Chairman Jim Lewis Lee hopes this will open the door for other investors to invest in the country.
One sample. If we are success this project, after that is Korea more company investment more. But when I was staying in this country, never success big project.
The 800 million kina project will have apartments with oceanic view units that will cost as low as 700,000 kina each.
Be given the license unfit, that our apartments and our places are unfit for human habitations, and then we continue to forget this and live on our properties. We just need to fix this up because we are a responsible organization. We need to make sure that people live in a fit accommodation. So that is why we are embarking on the processes. There is no one going to be thrown on the street.
It is not yet confirmed on when the Gabutu Palace project will begin construction. Adelaide Sirox Kari, National EMTV News.
The Melanesian Spearhead Group Trade Ministers meeting began today in Nadi, Fiji. Fiji's Minister for Trade, Faiaz Koya, opened the meeting saying that over the last few years, MSG has transformed itself into a vehicle of progress for the economic well-being of the people. PNG's Minister for Trade, Commerce and Industry, Richard Maru, was not at the meeting.
Participants at the MSG Trade Ministers meeting in Fiji heard today that the Melanesian Spearhead Group has become a catalyst for trade and economic integration in the Pacific. Fiji's Minister for Trade, Fayez Koya, said the MSG has also managed to implement a legal framework allowing member countries to take inter-MSG trade to new levels thanks to the unique progressive nature of the trade agreement.
Trade between the MSG countries is increasing each year at record levels. As we come to the conclusion of the negotiations on MSG Trade Agreement 3, we need to ensure that we do not backtrack on the progress that we have made thus far under the existing MSG Trade Agreement.
Mr. Koya said trade flows between the MSG countries have been flourishing in recent years. Over a 5-year period from around 2010 to 2014, the total trade value between the MSG countries grew from 22 million kina to 219 million kina, representing an increase of 114%.
Our collaboration on the trade front has also been boosted with investment flows from within the MSG region. For example, PNG has invested in the financial and tourism sectors in Fiji, while Fiji continues to invest in the retail and manufacturing sectors in PNG and other MSG countries.
He said that by creating economic links between MSG countries, we are laying the foundation for a new era of trade, economic development and cooperation in MSG. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
Boxing and rugby. We'll bring you those stories in Trukai Sports when we come back. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. PNG flyweight boxing champion Rafael Lare says the country is just one step behind Australia in the code of boxing. Lare says since independence, boxing has improved significantly. He believes PNG boxers will be topping the ladder in the Oceania region in the near future.
The code of boxing has a long history in Papua New Guinea. 40 years on, boxers have been carrying the flag of PNG in international sporting arenas the world over. Rafael Lare is a Bougainvillean who won gold in the 51-kilogram flyweight division during the 1995 South Pacific Games in Tahiti. He has been fighting since 1992. His boxing career ended in 2002, and since then, he has been running his private boxing club in Kokopo Town. Rafael's 10 years of active boxing and now 13 years of coaching has given him enough experience to reflect on the code of boxing in the country.
Yeah, looking at Australia and Papua New Guinea, I think we are just one step away from Australia now. So I think by the next 2-3 years, we'll be way top up there with the...
He is now coaching 19-year-old Carteret Islander Thaddeus Katua and 18-year-old Behupu Noki from Wanigela village. Thaddeus has won gold in the 60-kilogram division in the recent Pacific Games, while Behupu has grabbed silver in the Golden Gloves Challenge in Australia. They are preparing for the Commonwealth Youth Games to be staged in Apia, Samoa later this week.
Winning game, gold.
Now we prepare well for Youth Commonwealth game. We want to win these games coming up in Apia.
Coach Rafael says in the next 5 years, PNG will be competing with Australia to grab the first placing in the code of boxing. Quinten Alomp, National EMTV News.
The Redbacks have come out winners in the 2015 Paul Joseph Sevens tournament in Madang. Redbacks put on a stunning performance, beating Duban Barbarians 19 points to 10 yesterday at Divine Word University's DY Park. MTV's Jack Lapavit Jr. has more.
DY Park came alive yesterday as the Medang Rugby Union football competition hosted the Paul Joseph Sevens Cup. Medang MP and Petroleum and Energy Minister Nixon Duban was present to officiate the cup final. With much anticipation in developing rugby union in Medang, the cup finals between Redbacks and Barbarians was a nail-biter. The game started off with both teams taking chances to test their opponent's defense. But it was the boys in red that crossed the line to open the scoreboard. Redbacks score again to take the lead to halftime. The Barbarians returned and made a stand, bringing the score to 10. However, the boys in red were too strong, winning 19-10. In other matches, T-Blacks defeat 26 Reds 35-24 in the Shield finals. DW's Easy Cruisers Team 2 were too strong for the Oldies with a 32-0, and Coronas Brothers took the plate finals, defeating Kalibobo Gunners 32-0.
So PJ Sevens will be run for the next 3 years. I will continue to support the whole league going and by continually supporting Mozambique.
This coming weekend will be packed again as DY Park will host the Matagal Sevens. Jack Lapave Jr. National MTV Sports.
Well, True Guy Sports continues with Intercity Cup and NRL. We'll give you all the details after this break. Stay with us.
True Guy Sports.
Good to have you back with True Guy Sports. In their final home game of the 2015 Intrust Super Cup season, the SPPNG Hunters gave their fans a treat when they walked over the Burleigh Bears 44-24 at the Sir John Guy Stadium here in Port Moresby yesterday. The Hunters led throughout the match and had a strong second half finish. Skipper Israel Eliab grabbed 2 tries and sealed the game, scoring in the final remaining minutes of the match. The Hunters now sit second on the Intrust Super Cup ladder on 42 points, just behind the Townsville Blackhawks, who are on 43 points. The Roosters remain supreme on the NRL points ladder, followed by the Brisbane Broncos, locked on 38 points after round 25 of the competition. The end of the round sees the Dragons hang on to a spot in the top 8 after they were defeated by the Gold Coast Titans. This evening we'll see the final match of the round between the Panthers and the Raiders, both teams sitting at the bottom end of the ladder.
The Broncos and Roosters opened the round with massive victories. The Broncos thrashed the Bunnies 47-12.
High pressure game, here's Milford. Milford's into the backfield, inside the 20, comes to the 10, he fends, he steps, he passes, long, they've got to get there surely. Yes, they go in to score, Brisbane.
And the Sea Eagles were embarrassed at home by the red-hot Roosters, 46-10.
Out there to Tupou, and the big bloke goes in to get 3.
The Bulldogs narrowly walked away with a victory over the Knights by 2 points. The loss for Newcastle sees them slump to the bottom of the ladder. Following a devastating loss last weekend, Melbourne have bounced back to defeat the North Queensland Cowboys 14-6 at Amy Park. The win sees the Storms hang on to 5th spot on the ladder.
Did he get there with a second attempt, or did Chambers beat him to the ball? Yes, he did.
The Tigers cruised to victory over the struggling Warriors with a huge 50-16 win. And the Titans just managed a victory over the Dragons 28-26.
Taylor, he'll go himself. Has Taylor got it down? Somehow Dave Taylor has put the...
Dion Kombang, National MTV Sports.
Well, that wraps up True Guy Sports tonight. The weather details coming up next. Stay with us.
True Guy Sports. True Guy Sports.
Taking a quick look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region, Port Moresby to look forward to cloudy periods with chances of patchy rain. In Momase, mostly fine expected in Lae City. In the New Guinea Islands, showers plus rain expected in Buka. And lastly, in the Highlands region, all centres to look forward to morning fog clearing, then cloudy periods. Before we go, as always, a quick recap of our main headlines again tonight. The RPNGC and AFP crack down on illicit drugs. Also, Puma Energy warns of low fuel supply in Port Moresby, and classes remain suspended at Woodall University in East New Britain. Well, that's the way it is this Monday, the 31st of August 2015. On behalf of the news crew, I'm Tokana Hasavi Jr. As always, thanks for your company. You take care and stay happy. Good night.